Okay, so moving on to some more probability that is a little bit more complex and has a couple more aspects to it that we really need to pay attention to. So in these problems, we have a new spinner. We have red, purple, yellow, and blue, and there's definitely more outcomes here, which makes our sample size larger. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is know what is my sample size. So how many outcomes are there? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my sample size is 8. Okay, let's look at question number 1. Question number 1 says, what is the probability of spinning a purple? So I'm going to count how many purples there are on the spinner. So I see 1, 2, 3 purples. So that means there are 3 different outcomes that would give me a purple out of 8 total outcomes. So that means my probability is 3 out of 8. So if I spun the spinner 8 times, I could expect to get a purple 3 of those times. Number 2, what is the probability of spinning a red or a yellow? So I'm going to count how many reds or yellows there are. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 reds or yellows. So the sample size doesn't change, but the number of outcomes does. The number of outcomes here is 4. There are 4 reds or yellows. Okay? So the probability is 4 out of 8. Notice how the sample size stays the same for the spinner. That means if I spun it 8 times, I would get a red or a yellow 4 of those 8 times. What is the probability of spinning a green? Well, there are no greens on this spinner, so the probability of spinning a green is 0 out of 4, or just 0. And a probability of 0 means it is impossible. If you spun that spinner 1,000,000 times, 1,000,000,000,000 times, you would never ever spin a green. All right, question number 4. What is the probability of spinning a purple, red, yellow, or blue? So purple, red, yellow, or blue. Well, those are the only colors here. They represent all of the spots of the spinner. So that number of outcomes is 8, which means 8 out of 8, or 1 whole. And that means it is 100% certain that if you spun the spinner, you would either get a purple, red, yellow, or a blue. There's no other colors on there, so you're guaranteed to get at least one of them. Okay, let's move on to a second set, and this adds just one more facet to the spinner. So you'll notice on this spinner, the sections have colors, but they also have numbers. So on the one that it's pointing right now, it's a yellow, but it has a 1, a red 2, green 3, red 4, and so on and so forth. So the sample size is the same. There are 8 spots. There are 8 spots. So there are 8 possible outcomes. Okay, that's going to be the denominator of our fraction. Number 1, what is the probability of spinning a red with an 8? Okay, so there are 3 reds, but there is only 1 red with an 8. So there's only 1 outcome there. 1 out of 8. So if I spun the spinner 8 times, I would only see it land on a red 8 once, likely. What is the probability of spinning a yellow with a 2? Okay, so we'll look over here. There's only 1 yellow, and it has a 1, not a 2. So spinning a yellow with a 2 is impossible. There are no yellow 2s, so there are 0 possible outcomes. right? You could spin that spinner as many times as you want. You will never get a yellow with a 2. That is impossible. We represent that with a really sloppy 0. Number 3, what is the probability of spinning a blue with an odd number on it? Okay, so I'm going to come over to my spinner. I see 2 blues, and I'm looking for odd numbers. Odd numbers are 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So both of these blues have odd numbers. 5 is odd, and 7 is odd. So that means that we have 2 possible outcomes. We have a blue 5 and a blue 7. So there are 2 out of 8. Okay, number 4. What is the probability of spinning a green with a multiple of 3 on it? So again, the multiples of 3, if you skip count by 3s, are 3, 6, 9, and 12, 15, and so on and so forth. So I'm looking for my greens. I see that I have a 6 and a 3. And both of those are multiples of 3. So I have 2 out of 8, which is my sample size. So 2 out of 8. And that's my probability.